Hello everybody, welcome to Blue Goose Garage. According to my phone, which I will show you right here, it's 26 degrees. Windy, been like this all day. It's still kind of snowing some. I thought that I'd get out here and crank the 67 as a good cold start, let it run for a while. Kind of, the snow kind of helps show that it's a cold start, I guess, but it's not ran for a couple days. I figured it'd be a good time for this. Oh man. You can tell it's cold when everything's popping and cracking when you're moving it. Pump, 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 pump. Might not do it. Ain't gonna do it. First time this car's never cranked. It's always cranked. Well, we'll give it a try. I'd say if anything, it's kind of a battery issue. That being said, I do have another battery. I might swap the battery and see if it'll start. It's a little cold for this, but we can't have it, not cranking. So, back in a second. So in order to try to crank the 67, I hooked the battery back up on this Fiat. And it's so cold out here that this car's missing. But it cranked. So I'm gonna let this run and try to charge my battery with it. Just in case. I learned a long time ago, you don't ever shut a door on one of these with it running without the window down. But I'm going to hook the battery jumper cables up, and then I'm going to let it run for a few minutes charging this, and then I'll try to show you it's cranking it. Alright, hooked up. Apparently we got a headlight out, but issue is this car's not got a choke, so when it cranks I'm gonna have to let it run a few minutes with the Fiat running too, which is probably hard on charging stuff. Come on, baby. Come on, you can do it. She's flooding pretty good. Issue is problem, issue, whatever, problem, okay? The problem is this car has points and it doesn't have the wire that should be going from the other post on the starter up to the ignition coil. So when the battery's real weak like this, there's not enough voltage getting to the ignition to have spark. Normally that's not a problem, but the battery that's on this has gotten a little bit weak, and in cold weather like this it can't start. Well, there's two ways I could fix that problem. I could get a new battery that's a little hotter, or I could jump that wire like it's supposed to be, or when I go to crank it, I could have a switch in here hidden somewhere when it's cold like this. I could have a switch in here somewhere that when I'm trying to crank it, jumps it directly to 12 volts. And then as soon as it starts, you turn the switch back off. Which kind of does the same thing that the starter wire would do. You just have to remember to do that each time, or you'd fry your points. But there's another truck we had out here that was kind of exactly like that. It was the truck actually my uncle had that this engine was in. That truck was a 73 square body, and that truck had points first year for it. Well, last year for points. And we put a HEI in it on the original wire, and it ran fine like that all the time. But sometimes when it was cold like this, you had to send an extra couple volts to the battery, to the distributor. You don't actually have to have all 12 volts on the HEI most of the time, especially if that stuff. But in that truck situation anyway, it never cared. Ran fine like that for years. It never cared. It ain't warm enough to run yet. Boy, it's cold. It might keep running. More concerned about that car rolling off. It's not exactly got a very good parking brake in reverse. Alright. Seems to be running pretty good. Boy, it's cold. if you can see it, but that battery, well, you actually see it pretty good according to this, but this amp gauge actually does work some. Chevrolet's a little different than say a Dodge would be. I don't know about Fords, I never messed with one of them, but Chevrolets, that don't run through the big wire on the back of the alternator, it runs through a small field wire, so it'll actually work without that. They don't have to be on the circuit, they don't have to be jumped, but it would be nice to know it worked. But another issue with this car is it does have a externally regulated alternator, which I believe is 37 amps, and 37 amps is enough to run the headlights, it's enough to run the radio, or it's enough to run the heater fan, but it's not enough to run the radio, headlights, and heater fan. It will, but if you only ever drive the car at night, the headlights, the battery slowly gets weaker and weaker and weaker, and this time of year it'll get to where it won't start because the battery's too far down. And it doesn't matter what kind of battery you have on this car, it will eventually drain down a big battery too, like a diesel battery. So that problem didn't exist until I went back to that externally regulated alternator. I had an internal regulated on it that it never did that with, but with this one, and it charges like 13.7, so it's charging decent. It's just not able to keep up with the headlights and everything. That feels better. So anyway, you know, this is something I wanted to do. I hope you enjoyed this video. Tell me what you think. I mean, yeah, you know, it would have been nice if it would have cranked right up, but I think this is more realistic. It's a cold start that has issues, problems. It's a little more realistic and believable, I guess, than something that cranks right up. So this one, again, would have, I didn't have to give it any ether, I didn't have to pour any gas down its throat, but it would have cranked if the battery had been a little bit hotter. But since it wasn't, I had to jump it off. So I'm starting not to see my breath already. The heat's working. But anyway, I'll see you again next time. Stay warm out there. Bye.